Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Well, today we're tackling a topic that's, well, it's been having a major resurgence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Stoicism. It might seem like, just some old philosophy,
Right.
but I think we're going to find out that Stoicism has some really practical advice for dealing with, well, life in the 21st century.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. The world is pretty chaotic these days.
It really is.
Stoicism gives you tools to navigate all of that.
So before we get too far, can we just kind of lay the groundwork? What exactly is Stoicism?
Okay, so Stoicism. It's a philosophy that started back in ancient Greece. And at its heart, it's about focusing on what you can control.
Okay.
Your thoughts, your actions, your reactions. And then the flip side of that is accepting the stuff you can't control.
I think a lot of people, when they hear Stoicism, they think of like a person who's just like shut down emotionally, like a robot.
Yeah, I get
Is
that.
that really accurate, though?
No, not at all. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's more about understanding them, figuring out where they're coming from and then choosing how you respond.
So it's not about not feeling. It's about what you do with those feelings.
Exactly. Like imagine you're stuck in traffic, right?
The worst.
You can't control the traffic jam, but you can control how you react to it. You can get all stressed out, or you can choose to use that time, maybe listen to a podcast, do some mindfulness exercises.
Or, I don't know, just accept that you're stuck and chill out of it.
There you go.
So accepting what you can't change, that's a big part of Stoicism. What else is kind of key to understanding this whole philosophy?
So another important principle is living in accordance with nature.
Okay, now, does that mean we all have to go, like, live in a cabin in the woods?
No.
Oh.
It's not about literally living in nature. It's more about understanding the natural order of things, recognizing that we're all interconnected.
I've been trying to be more mindful lately, and I feel like there's some overlap there.
Definitely. Both Stoicism and mindfulness, they kind of emphasize that presence, being in the moment, accepting things as they are.
Without judgment.
Right. Not getting swept away by every thought and emotion.
Okay, so we've got these core Stoic principles, but how does all this actually play out in everyday life?
Oh, in so many ways. Let's take your work life, for example. Imagine you've got a deadline looming. Instead of freaking out about the time crunch, which you can't really control.
Easier said than done sometimes.
True. But Stoicism would say, hey, focus on what you can control. Break the project down into smaller steps, manage your time well, communicate with your team.
So basically, channel that energy into action, not anxiety.
Exactly. And in your personal life, say you've got a friend who always cancels plans last minute and it's driving you crazy.
Oh, I know that type.
Instead of getting angry, Stoicism would encourage you to take a step back. Look at your expectations. Can you accept that this is just how your friend is? Or do you need to set some boundaries, have a conversation?
It's funny. I think a lot of us, we go into relationships hoping people will change, and when they don't, we get all frustrated.
Yeah, that happens. But Stoicism is more about working with what is, rather than wishing things were different.
And that doesn't mean being a pushover.
No, not at all. It's more about choosing your battles. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just change your own perspective.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we see how Stoicism applies to work, relationships, even those little everyday annoyances. But for someone who wants to, actually try this stuff out, how do you get started?
Well, there are some classic Stoic practices that can be really helpful. One that I personally like is negative visualization.
Ooh, that sounds a little intense.
Yeah, I know. The name's not very inviting, is it? But hear me out. It's about intentionally imagining potential setbacks, challenges that might come up.
So you're not, dwelling on the negative, but you're kind of mentally preparing for the fact that bad stuff happens.
Exactly. Like imagine your car breaking down. By playing that scenario out in your head, you're less likely to totally freak out when it happens in real life.
Okay, I could see that. It's like a mental fire drill.
Exactly. And it might even encourage you to take better care of your car, just in case.
So it's not about hoping for bad things. It's just acknowledging that they might happen.
Right. Another great Stoic practice is journaling. Take a few minutes each day to reflect on your experiences, What challenges did you face? How did you react? Could you have done things differently, maybe using some Stoic principles?
I love journaling. I find it so helpful for processing emotions and just kind of learning from your experiences.
Me too. And it doesn't have to be this huge formal thing. Just jotting down a few thoughts can be really powerful.
We've been talking about Stoicism like it's this, I don't know, kind of hidden gem. but it seems like it's actually having a bit of a moment right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Stoicism is popping up everywhere, from books and podcasts to, like, leadership seminars. There are even companies that incorporate Stoic principles into their training programs.
That's so interesting. These ancient ideas being used in like modern businesses.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think people are drawn to Stoicism because it's all about resilience,
Yeah.
self-control,
Yeah.
making rational decisions. And those are qualities that are really valuable in today's world.
Yeah, it's almost like an antidote to all the chaos and uncertainty.
I like that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Stoicism, I think it's safe to say that this philosophy, while it's old, it has a lot to offer us today.
It really does.
It's about finding that inner peace, focusing on what we can control, and facing those inevitable challenges with a little more grace, a little more resilience.
And remember, it's not about being perfect. Stoicism is a journey. You just start with small steps. Try incorporating one practice into your routine, maybe journaling, negative visualization, even just taking a pause before you react to something.
Love that. It's not about a total life overhaul, just those little shifts that can make a big difference over time. And for anyone who wants to learn more about Stoicism, we've got a ton of resources linked in the show notes.
There are so many great books out there, both by those ancient Stoics and modern authors who've put their own spin on it.
It's a whole world to explore. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.
See you then?